Hi guys, it's Casting with Cody here today with another video. It's going to actually be a little bit more of the in-depth hunting, the beforehand, what you guys prep, what you guys get ready, what I get ready, what I prep for. It's going to be all the supplies that I bring with me, my boots, my jacket, my gloves, like all that type of stuff. All right, guys, let's dive into it. All right, guys, so we're going to start off. I always have a flashlight with me. This is a nice flashlight. It's very bright. Most people, they like a more softer flashlight. So when you're traipsing through the woods, you can't be seen very far away. But personally, I like a bright flashlight in case I need, I get lost or I need to find my stand and I can't really see it. But I always go with a bright, able to zoom in, zoom out for a larger radius. That's number one, flashlight. All right, guys, number two, it's gonna be actually three things, but they're all the same. So it's gonna be gloves. These are nice gloves, they're very warm. I throw these on right when I get up in the stand, warm up my hands from walking out with, the flashlight and stuff like that, coming back into the stand. And I normally have these on throughout the entire day. I keep them on very, very warm. So like a thicker glove is very nice for quarter temperatures. I also have another pair of gloves in case one of these ones drops when I'm up in the stand, falls out of the tree. I can't obviously go back and get it, so I carry a second pair of gloves. These are wool. They're also very warm. If they get wet, they'll still keep you warm, which is really nice because when it's raining or snowing or really anything, these gloves keep you super, super warm. The third pair of gloves, field dressing gloves. Some people don't use gloves. Some people do use gloves. I don't know. It really just depends. I do sometimes. I don't other times. But field dressing gloves, always good. This is going to be another one sort of like the gloves. So I had three of those separate. This is actually going to be 2 sets of knives. So I always carry a very, very sharp knife. I always carry the buck knives. It's what I've had since I've started. This is very good for field dressing or really anything while you're up in the tree stand. If you need to cut off like a piece of string that you have on you or really whatever it is, it's always good to have a very sharp knife. Normally, the day or two before that I go out hunting, I always sharpen the knife to make sure it's sharp. If you ever want to check and see if the knife is sharp, all you have to do is just run it up your arm. And then if there's little pieces of hair on it here, then it's sharp. That would be knife number 1. And then this is knife number 2. So this one here is your bone splitter. Cuts bones, your butt bone on the deer. It's very good. You have to cut that in half to be able to get out all of its internals. Also let the deer bleed out. It's really, really good for that. I always carry one. Some people, if they don't have these, they'll actually take their knife and to split it, they'll go like this, and then they'll take their butt of their hand, put it on the butt bone, and then they'll pound down on it, which actually one of the guys that I hunt with, he did that, and I think he had like a $120 knife, and it's the top of it just chipped right here from doing that. So it's always good. I mean, these things are only like 15 bucks at stores. You can get them really anywhere. You can get them at Dick's. You can get them at Fin Feather Fur. I think you can even get these at Walmart. So, I mean, it's definitely worth the purchase. It'll save you your knife. Like this buck knife, I think it's around $30 to $40. Comes with like a little sheath. It's super nice for going out hunting. Next up on the list, these things are a absolute lifesaver. So when you're out in the woods, it's -5 degrees, it's 0 degrees, it's 5 degrees, 10 degrees, whatever it is. I mean, it gets super cold out there with the wind and everything else. So what you really like to have is hand warmers. They do make body warmers. They make actually a ton of different types of these hot hands. Really anything. They actually make foot insoles too. Those are nice. I've used those before. They make your feet sweat, which isn't really that good. Like if you're up and around walking. But if you're sitting with those, they're very, very nice. But I would definitely recommend having hand warmers for the very cold times. You can just throw them in your gloves. Normally what I would do before the hunt, I'd take them out of their package, shake them up, and then I'd keep them in my bag. And then when I got to my stand, I'd throw in my gloves and then throw these in, and they would be super, super warm because it had all that time to heat up. Normally when you open up the bag, they're not going to get warm too fast. So that's what I would like to do, is just open them up beforehand, then throw them on when you get to the stand. Just a little life hack, I guess. Right, next up on the list, a handkerchief. This thing will save your life. You are up in the stand, it's super cold. You know, you got a stuffy nose, your nose has been running since 2 days prior. It's always good to have a handkerchief. You just pick it up, blow your nose, and that's pretty self-explanatory. Saved my life many of times. Next up, binoculars. These things are also lifesavers. Really, everything that I'm showing you is a lifesaver. You definitely need it throughout your hunt. But these here, amazing. So a good pair of binoculars is one of your best assets and allies in your tree stand when you're looking very far away. You know, your gun scope's good, but it really just, with the gun scope, it pretty much just takes a picture of the whole animal. You can't really like zoom into one particular area, but the binoculars, you can focus them. With scopes, it's a lot more difficult to like really focus in on one particular area, but that's what's really good with binoculars, is that they you can focus them to a certain part of the animal, like the rack, how big, you know, whatever you're looking at is. And these are very good for very far distances. The scope's good for far distances too. It's just a lot more difficult to specifically see like the rack or how many points it has. Excuse me. It's really hard to tell. So these are really, really good out in the field. Because yesterday I was just using my scope. I forgot my binoculars. I was just using my scope to see if it was a doe or a buck. It was really, really difficult to keep it in because the scope doesn't really make a huge wide view. These things, you look out and you can see pretty much everything. Next up on the list is going to be your license. License is one of your most important things that you need every single time that you go hunting. If you don't have this, you can get in super big trouble. So you always need your license. I have a license holder. I just always strap it onto the back. I'm going to show you here in a little what I carry all of this stuff in. But I strap this onto the back. It's a must. You absolutely 100% need it. You can't forget it like I did my binoculars. Anything and everything revolves around this. You can't hunt. You can't carry a gun. You can't shoot a deer. Anything without your license. Next up, it's going to be your hats and face covers. These are awesome. They cover your head so you don't really have anything showing. All you gotta do is just throw this thing on and then you're pretty much shielded. It's really nice. Just throw that on, and then it also provides like a little bit of warmth as well. Next one is your orange hat. Most of the time during the first week of a season, your buck season, your doe season, whatever it is, you always have to have orange on. I think it's, I don't know, 250 square inches of orange that you have to wear for the first week. I think it's around there. I might be wrong. But your orange hat, very important. Next thing up, this thing is amazing. I've carried this every single time I go hunting. It keeps you so much warm. If you do not keep your neck warm throughout your hunt, you are going to be freezing. The neck is the most important thing to keep warm besides, you know, your body and your legs and your feet and stuff like that. The neck is the first thing that you need to keep warm. So this thing, it's interchangeable. You can throw it on like this. It's orange, has an opening, and then you can swap it out like this, and it'll just be all camo in case the season's changed and you're allowed to, just wear all camo. You don't need any orange. It's really nice to have. I don't have one with me. I think I dropped it outside. But another big thing is your orange beanie, or just really any type of beanie hat to cover up your ears. Ears need to be warm too. It's really nice to have a beanie with you because really overall it just keeps you warm. Very, very warm. Next up, your orange vest. This thing is a lifesaver, literally. A lot of people can misjudge. They hear something, they think it's a deer, they automatically pull up, and they just have a happy trigger finger, and they don't even look at what it is. And then they'll shoot. It's happened before, but this orange vest, it really helps out. Even if it isn't like in season, like when you don't have to wear one, it's always good to still wear it. I mean, I've never really had a deer be bothered by it or even notice it like up in the stand. Really, the only thing that you have to worry about with deer is the fact that they have really good noses. So I always use scent away. I also have this here. This is good to use before you spray down your clothes, and then it takes basically all the scent away. I only throw out the outside really layer of my clothes, like my first jacket, and then I have my second jacket. In case I take that off, I'll spray that down, and then my leggings, I'll spray those down too with the scent away, and my boots. Boots are a big thing because everywhere you walk, you leave a scent, so the boots are a really, really good thing to spray. But really, your vest will save your life. If you shoot a deer, you're dragging it out. It's really good to have one on just to protect yourself, just so people can see you, just to make sure that, they don't see a deer being dragged and then they don't see the person dragging it. So it's just really good to have one. Next up, your bullets. Bullets are really important, and make sure it is the caliber that you're using. I know people who have come in to sight their gun and then they end up actually using the complete wrong ammo that they're supposed to use for their gun. Always have an excess amount because you never know what's going to happen while you're out there. You get buck fever, you start shaking, you start just shooting sporadically, don't even hit the deer. It's happened to all of us before. But to carry an entire box with you is really good. I always have a little thing on the stock of my gun where I can hold extra bullets. I think it like holds 6 or 7, and then on top of the 4 that are already in your gun, and then another pack to keep in your pack, basically. Hot cocoa, best thing ever. Oh my goodness! I know everything that I've said that we've had is pretty much the best thing ever, but hot cocoa is something that is really good to drink while you're out in the field. Keeps you warm. A lot of people drink coffee, really anything hot tea, hot coffee, hot cocoa. It really just depends on who you are, what you like to drink. But my drink choice is hot cocoa. I've never really been into hot coffee. So hot chocolate, best thing ever. All right, guys, this thing is really nice. It carries everything. It carries the binoculars, the gloves, the knife, the flashlight that you have, all your extra hats, your orange vests, your hot cocoa, your hot hands, your bullets. It carries everything. Handkerchief. This thing is really nice. So this here, it has many pockets. I think it has 2 up front, and then it has a little holder back here. I normally throw my knife back there, and then I throw my this thing right in the back of this. It's really nice because you're not holding everything as you're walking in the stand. You always have this, and it's around your entire back and around your front. So anytime that you need something, you can just grab it real quick, pull it out, and boom, it's there. It's really nice. You don't need it. I guess you can throw everything in your backpack, but it's for easy use to carry or pull out anything that you need in an instant, like your knife, your flashlight, your gloves, your binoculars, any scent type stuff that you have or carry. Some people do, some people don't. Really just depends. Extra bullets, you can throw those in there. It's really nice just all around to have something that you can always carry around. All right, next up, your boots. Very important. These are really old. I want to say these are like probably around 10, 15 years old. I've been wearing these for 4 or 5 years. My grandpa passed them down to me, so I just wear these all the time. Got some new shoelaces for them, but I really try to strive away or stray away from boots that are anything under 800 gram insulate. I normally like to go 1,000 to 15-ish hundred, around there, just to keep your feet warm. You want something that when you're up in the stand, it's going to keep them really warm, but you're not going to sweat while you're walking around. That's the last thing you want, is for anything of your body to sweat, because then that water on the outside of you gets cold, and then your just entire body gets cold. So it's really good to have that like medium in between. I like to try to stay around 800 to 1,000 to 1,200-ish range for the insulate for them. Waterproof, another big thing on boots. You're tracking through mud, you're tracking through little streams. You really want your boots to be waterproof, because if not, then your whole day is just going to be ruined. If you walk through water, if you're walking through mud, and you know all that water seeps through any little crevice, any little crack, whatever with your boots, then you know you're pretty much done for the day. You just have to go back and then switch out boots or whatever you have to do. So a good pair of boots is always a really good thing. The gun is going to be up next. That's obviously pretty much your most important thing that you need to remember. You always, I mean, you're not gonna be able to kill the deer or whatever you're hunting without your gun. I carry a 300 Savage. It's a very nice gun. It was passed down to me from my great-grandfather to my grandfather to me. It's a really nice gun. It's a lever action. Has a lot of stopping power, if you hit them in the right place, obviously. But a scope is a good thing to have on your gun. You don't need one. It's just nice for further out distances. But the gun, one of the most important things. 300 Savage. A lot of people use 7mm08 or 243, 270. Any of those calibers are really good. It's just like the really big calibers that you want to stay away from, because then after that, it starts to really damage the meat when the bullet enters. So you lose a little bit of meat, but I mean, it's not that big of a deal. So really any gun with stopping power, I mean, you really don't want to use a 22. Something, you know, 223, 243, 270, 300 Savage, 7mm08, whichever one. Those are all great, great weapon choices, great calibers. But that's pretty much the gun side anyways. All right, your backpack. Backpack is very good. You can carry all those things that I have like in my like wraparound pack for my sides and stuff. The backpack's really good for carrying anything. It's really good for carrying your thermos, your food for the day, any extra soda pops, Coke, Pepsi, whatever you guys are into. It's good to throw those in there. Any extra batteries that you have for flashlights, for radios. I always carry at least one, if not two, portable chargers for my cell phone, for anything, my GoPro, for really whatever, you know, you guys carry that's electronic that you don't want to die throughout the day. So it's really nice to carry those. All right, so this is a really big thing. It really just depends if you're hunting with other people. If you're hunting with other people, you always want a two-way radio. One thing that you can say out and another person hears, and then they'll call back in. But these things are really, really important for call outs. If you have any deer beside you and then they're running down a hollow, or you know, they're running down a piece of land that, you know, across from you is another guy that you're hunting with, it's good to, you know, tell them, hey, you got 2 does coming, you got a nice buck right behind it. Just save it for a little bit. Make sure they're always charged. Make sure you have extra batteries for them. I think most take double A's. Some take triple A's. It just depends on which one you get. Motorola is one of the best radios that they make, I would say. Some people differ, whichever radio you want. Anything really around, you know, I'd probably say 75 to 100 bucks is really nice. You know, I don't think you need to go in that range of 200 to 500. It really depends on how far the people that you're hunting with are from you. I mean, if they're miles and miles and miles away, then I would say, you know, splurge a little bit and go for those higher end radios. But I mean, if you guys are going to be within 100, 250 yards of each other, you know, someone's putting a drive on for you, just really anything 75 to 100 bucks is really pretty much a good radio for you. All right, your doe calls and your buck calls. These are really good if you want a deer to stop or call a deer in. If you have another buck out from you, it's good to have a good buck grunt. These are $10, I think. This is like $5 wherever you go. You don't need to get the best ones, but these are really nice to have when you're out. You see a deer in the distance, and you know, obviously it's not going to come towards you, so it's good to have a buck grunt. Those are in season for mating. It's really good to have a buck grunt, because then you get those bucks all riled up, and then they start coming towards you when you use it. The doe bleat, it's really good. Bleat in heat, it's also for bucks. It also brings in does. It'll stop a doe. It'll stop a buck in its tracks once you hear it. It's really good. The buck grunt. Those are both really good things to carry with you. Personally, all those things that I brought up, you don't need all of them. You don't need the hot hands. You don't need the extra hats. You don't need all those gloves. It's personally just what I like to carry with me, just in case I end up dropping one or out of the tree stand or whatever it is. They're just nice to have for extra use in case you need it. But that's pretty much it. I'm gonna try and put the descriptions in the bottom, the links for all the things that I've showed you guys. I'm not gonna be able to put the exact, so I'll put something like for a backpack. I'll just put any backpack that's camo is really nice. Really anything. I'll just try to make it pretty cheap. But alright guys, that's all. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time on my next video.